This is Mr. Black Terror, and you've just stepped into the darkest corner of the internet. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? What hour of the night is it? And don't forget to share this video with anyone who laughs at horror stories. Let them hear what real fear sounds like. I moved into that rental house in Cedar Rapids because I needed somewhere cheap, quiet, and far away from the noise of downtown. The place wasn't impressive peeling paint, creaky floors, a backyard where weeds won some silent war, but it was affordable, and the landlord didn't care about credit checks or paperwork. That alone should have been a warning that my very first night there. I noticed the basement hatch dot. It wasn't a door like you'd expect, just a square outline in the hallway floor near my bedroom, with an old rusted latch that looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. The landlord hadn't mentioned the basement, and the listing didn't either. But older houses in the Midwest have all kinds of hidden crawl spaces, so I didn't think much of it. Not until the first incident. It was 3:11 a.m. exactly. I woke up because something tapped beneath the floorboards. Not a house settling. Not pipes. Something deliberate. 3 slow knocks, spaced apart like someone trying not to wake the whole house. At first, half asleep, I told myself it was in a dream. But when it happened again, 3 more knocks, precise and soft, I sat up. The sound came directly from the hallway. I got out of bed and opened my door. The hallway was dark. The air smelled strangely cold, like wet stone. I stepped forward slowly until I stood over the basement hatch. Then it happened again. 3 taps. And this time, they came from directly beneath my feet. It felt as if someone were sitting just inches below the floor, tapping with their knuckles upward. I froze there, staring at the hatch, half expecting the latch to twitch or the wood to bulge. But nothing else happened. The noise stopped as quickly as it started. I didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, I called the landlord and casually asked if the house had a basement. He paused too long before answering. "No, house has no basement. Just foundation space. Nothing to worry about." "Then what's the hatch in the hallway?" Another pause. "Just an old access panel." "Don't open it." "Why not?" "It's sealed for a reason," he said. "And I suggest you just ignore anything strange you hear at night in that house. Trust me." And then he hung up. I spent the day thinking about that phrase. Anything strange you hear at night. Why would he say it like that? Why would he assume there would be strange noises? By the second night, I was scared enough that I left all the hallway lights on. I even put a heavy box on top of the hatch just in case. But nothing happened. No knocks, no cold smell, no tapping. I thought maybe the stress of moving had gotten to me. Then, on the third night, at exactly 3:11 a.m., something whispered up from under the boards. Not words, just breathing. Slow, wet breathing, like a person trying to keep quiet while hiding in a small space. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. I just stared at my bedroom door, watching the faint glow of the hallway light underneath it. Then the breathing stopped, and something exhaled my name, barely audible. "Daniel." I didn't open the door. I couldn't. I stayed frozen until sunrise. The next day, I worked from a coffee shop because I couldn't stand being in the house alone. It wasn't until I came home that I noticed the box I had placed on the hatch was moved 6 inches to the left, as if something below had pushed it. I didn't have neighbors close by. The house's doors were locked, and that box was too heavy to slide on its own. That night, I set up my phone on a chair facing the hallway. I didn't want a film under the hatch, I just wanted proof of the movement. I started recording, left the lights on, and went to bed. I didn't sleep. At 3:11 a.m., the hallway light flickered. Not fully off, just a fast stutter, like a dying bulb. My heart hammered so loudly I felt it in my throat. Something scraped beneath the floorboards. A slow dragging sound, like fingernails tracing the wood from underneath. I heard my phone vibrate from receiving some kind of notification. But I didn't dare open my door. The scraping went on for almost a full minute, then silence. When morning came, I grabbed the phone with trembling hands. The recording was still going. I scrubbed through the footage, expecting to see the box move or the lights flicker, but what I saw instead made me drop the phone. At exactly 3:11 a.m., the basement hatch rose about half an inch, just enough to break the seal, then dropped. Not enough to fully open, but enough to show something was underneath, pushing upward. And at the exact moment the hatch moved, the camera's microphone picked up a whisper, "Let me out." I packed my things, threw them into my car, and drove straight to the landlord's house. When he opened the door, he looked at me like he'd been expecting this. "You heard it, didn't you? What the hell is under that house?" I demanded. His expression tightened. "Not what, who?" He motioned for me to sit, but I refused. 32 years ago, he said, a teenage boy disappeared from that home. His name was Eric. They assumed he ran away, but people in town knew better. His stepfather used to lock him down there whenever he misbehaved. No one knew that the crawlspace extended beneath most of the house. When the boy finally tried escaping, he got trapped. Couldn't find his way out. They never recovered his body. My chest tightened. So what is happening now? The boy died in the dark, the landlord said. Alone, desperate. That moment of dying is all that remains of him. A memory with teeth. I didn't want metaphors. Is something alive down there or not? All I know, he said, is that it only responds to one person at a time. Whoever lives in the house becomes the focus. It mimics voices. It learns names. And if you keep acknowledging it, it finds ways to get closer. I stared at him, waiting for him to tell me it was a joke. But he looked exhausted, haunted even. So what do I do? I asked. You leave, he said simply. And you don't go back. Ever. I didn't need to be told twice. That afternoon, I returned to the house with a friend and grabbed the rest of my belongings. I didn't even look at the hallway. I didn't look at the hatch. We tossed everything in the car and left. I didn't go back. 2 days later, my friend sent me a text with a photo attached. It was a screenshot from his phone. A missed call from my number. Timestamp. 3:11 a.m. but I was asleep. My phone was on silent the entire night. He said he picked up before it hung up. And he swore he heard breathing on the other end. Not mine. A child's. I blocked the landlord. I changed numbers. I moved states. But 2 nights ago, something woke me at God help me. 3:11 a.m. It came from the floor. 3 soft knocks. And then a whisper. Daniel, you left something behind. I never used to believe that certain hours of the night carried their own kind of gravity. People said 3 a.m. was the thinning hour, but I always thought that was internet nonsense. I was a 24-year-old grad student sharing a cramped off-campus apartment with my roommate, Tyler. We weren't close, just 2 guys trying to survive tuition, rent, and insomnia. But the night of November 18, 2022, Changed everything I knew about him. And everything I thought I understood about my own home. The first thing you need to know. Something was wrong with our apartment even before that night. Little things. Small things you don't take seriously until they line up wrong. Items shifting inches from where I left them. Footsteps in the kitchen when Tyler was out. The bathroom light flickering like someone was walking in front of the bulb. And the worst thing, this low, rhythmic sound under my bed late at night. Not scratching. Not tapping, more like slow breathing. I blamed pipes. Old wood. Maybe a neighbor through the wall. Anything logical. But I wasn't prepared for the night I realized the breathing had a pattern. A reaction. Like whoever or whatever was under my bed was listening to me. That evening, Tyler came home late, soaked in freezing rain, pale and weirdly quiet. Usually he'd complain about his shift, drop his backpack somewhere stupid, microwave leftovers, and pass out. But that night he walked straight to his room. No lights, no noise. I heard his door shut quietly like he was afraid of waking someone. Around 2:40 a.m. I woke up without knowing why. My room was freezing in a way the heater couldn't explain. You know that instinctive sense when you wake up and the world feels wrong? The air in my room felt thick, like the atmosphere before a lightning strike. I checked my phone, 2:41 a.m. My heart was pounding, but I didn't know why. And then I heard it breathing under my bed. Slow, dragging breaths. Too deep to be pipes. Too heavy to be an animal. Too purposeful to be anything unconscious. It sounded like someone lying on their stomach, facing upward, breathing directly into my mattress. For the first time in months, I whispered, "Tyler?" And the breathing stopped. Instant silence. Like the air itself froze. Then I heard the softest whisper rise from under the bed. So quiet I almost convinced myself I imagined it. "Don't speak." I shot upright. Sweat pooled instantly along my spine. I pressed my back into the wall, eyes locked on the shadow beneath my bedskirt. "Tyler?" My voice cracked. No answer. But then my bedroom door handle slowly turned. Metal clicked. Someone pushed the door inward, and Tyler stood there, only. Something was wrong. His posture was too stiff. His head tilted too far. His eyes were wide open, locked on me, but more like he was checking my position than actually looking at me. He was breathing through his mouth, each inhale sharp and ragged. "Hey," I said, trying to sound normal. Are you okay?" He didn't answer. He just stared. His clothes were the same from earlier, but wet like he'd gone back out into the storm. "Tyler?" I whispered again. A slow smile crawled across his face, crooked, unnatural, too wide. Not the smile of someone amused. The smile of something that had learned what a smile was supposed to look like. He took one step into my room. And under my bed. Something moved. The mattress lifted slightly. A hand, cold, trembling, touched my ankle from beneath the bed frame. My blood turned to ice. I jerked my foot up instinctively, but froze because the hand tightened. Not enough to hurt, but enough to warn. Then, a whisper, soft, frantic, desperate. "Don't move. Don't talk to it." My entire body locked. The whisper wasn't Tyler's, and whatever was under my bed sounded terrified. Tyler, or whatever was wearing his body, took another step closer, tilting its head like it was trying to figure out why I'd stopped responding. The smile didn't move. His eyes didn't blink. It was like watching an animatronic doll running out of battery. "What are you doing up?" It said in Tyler's voice, but the tone was wrong. Flattened. Learned. like someone replaying audio they'd heard before. My breath shook. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But the hand under the bed squeezed once, warning me again. I couldn't sleep. I managed to whisper. The thing in the doorway twitched, like it wasn't expecting an answer. Then it stepped even closer, moving too smoothly, too deliberately. The whisper under my bed returned. It's not him. He hasn't been him since yesterday. The temperature in the room dropped again. The thing wearing Tyler took another step, now only a few feet from my bed. Its smile finally faded, jaw slackening in a slow, unnatural drop. You should be sleeping, it said. You should. Lie down. The hand beneath the bed pulled gently at my ankle again, this time not a warning, but a plea. The creature looked at my sheets, my pillow, like it wanted to see me under them. Then its voice changed, lower, more guttural. Get back in bed. The whisper below me broke, shaking with terror. Don't. If you lie down, it won't have to pretend anymore. The thing moved faster than I expected, snapping its head toward the floor beside my bed, listening like it had heard the whisper. And it had. A single horrifying smile stretched back across its face, wider than before. It whispered, "Oh, there you are." The hand under my bed jerked violently. Something scrambled beneath me, fast, desperate, crawling toward the foot of the bed. The creature lunged. I didn't think I ran. I vaulted over the mattress, nearly tripping, darted past the thing as it dove to the floor, its limbs contorting as it dropped onto all fours. Its fingers bent backward as it peered under the bed skirt. A distorted scream rippled through the room, like layers of voices all shrieking at once. I ripped open my door, sprinted into the hallway, and didn't look back. From behind me came the sounds of chaos thrashing, snarling, scraping, like two things fighting violently under my bed. I couldn't tell which scream belonged to which. I ran outside barefoot into the freezing rain, bolted down the street, and didn't stop until I reached the nearest gas station and begged them to call 911. By the time police entered the apartment, my room was torn apart, mattress flipped, claw marks along the frame, carpet ripped open. But no sign of Tyler. They questioned me for hours, asked if we did drugs, if he'd been acting erratically, if I had enemies. I told them everything, except the part about the whispering under my bed, because even I knew how that would sound. The official report said Tyler was missing. His family came, taped flyers everywhere, begged me for details. I had nothing to give. But 3 nights later, at exactly 3:11 a.m., someone unlocked our apartment door. I wasn't inside. I haven't set foot there since. But our neighbor across the hall heard it. They said they opened their own door a crack and saw Tyler walk in, drenched, smiling, eyes unblinking, dragging something behind him. When police arrived 10 minutes later, the apartment was empty again, except for one thing. Under my bed, sticking out from the torn carpet, they found long scratch marks deep, frantic gouges leading toward the doorway, and stopping in the middle of the hall, like something had been pulled out. Dragged. Taken. I don't know what. Came back wearing my roommate's skin that night. I don't know what. Hid under my bed trying to warn me, or what happened to it. But ever since then, every night at exactly 3:11 a.m., I hear breathing again. Under my bed this time. At my door. Waiting. I used to think living alone was peaceful. No noise, no arguments, no unexpected footsteps in the hallway. Just quiet, But quiet becomes dangerous when you start hearing something inside it. I moved to Chicago in late 2023, renting a small top-floor apartment in an old brick building near Belmont. It wasn't fancy creaking floors, thin walls, a heater that rattled like someone shaking coins in a tin can, but the price was cheap, and the landlord seemed desperate to fill the place. That should have been my first warning. The second came the night I first heard the voice. It was my second week there. Around 2:50 a.m., I was editing photos on my laptop, half asleep, when a faint whisper drifted from the living room. A sound too close to be part of a dream, too soft to be a neighbor. Just one word. Hey. I froze, staring at the doorway. No footsteps. No movement. But the air was wrong, still and heavy, like something was holding its breath. I stood up, walked to the living room, and turned on the light. Nothing. Just the furniture I'd bought secondhand, an old sofa, a chipped coffee table, a lamp with a crooked shade. I told myself it was the building settling. Old wood makes weird noises, right? Except wood doesn't whisper. I brushed it off and went to bed. That was mistake number 3. At 3:11 a.m. exactly, the whisper came again, but this time it was louder. Over here. My heart lurched. I reached for the lamp, but the moment my fingers brushed the switch, the whisper slid across the room, coming from the opposite corner, as if something moved with unbelievable speed. Don't turn the lights on. That voice. It didn't sound human. Not robotic, not monstrous, just wrong. Like someone trying to mimic a person but missing some essential part of humanity. I turned the light on anyway. Silence. Nothing in the corner. Nothing behind the couch. Nothing under the table. Eventually, exhaustion took over, and I convinced myself it was stress, overwork, lack of sleep, whatever excuse kept me from panicking. But after that night, something started observing me. I could feel it. Whenever I walked into a room, the air would shift slightly. My ears would pop like pressure changing. The kind of sensation you get when someone is standing directly behind you, close enough to touch. But whenever I looked back, no one there. It wasn't until a week later that things escalated. I was on a video call with my sister. She was talking about our mom's birthday plans when she suddenly squinted and leaned closer to her screen. Wait, is someone with you? No, I said. Why? I swear I just saw someone move behind you. A cold shiver froze my spine. I turned around instantly. Empty room. My sister forced a laugh, brushing it off, but her face said she wasn't joking. That same night, while brushing my teeth, I saw something in the bathroom mirror. Not a full figure, just the faintest shape, like someone standing in the hallway behind me. A tall silhouette, shoulders hunched, head angled slightly like it was watching me brush my teeth with amusement. When I spun around, the hallway was empty, but the mirror still had the shape. My breath caught in my throat. My vision blurred. Then the lights flickered and the shape vanished like smoke. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound made my muscles lock. A faint tap under the bed. The soft drag of something across the living room floor. A whisper so low I couldn't tell if it was speech or air moving wrong. At 3:11 a.m. again, it returned, but this time, it didn't whisper words. It laughed. A soft, breathy, mocking laugh, the kind you'd hear from someone standing too close in a dark room. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my phone, and ran toward the door. But the moment my hand touched the knob, something whispered right beside my ear. Don't leave. It felt like ice brushing my skin. My vision dimmed for a second. I backed away slowly, heart racing like a trapped animal. I didn't know what was in the apartment, but one thing was clear: it didn't want me gone. Over the next 3 days, things intensified. Objects shifted positions. Cabinets opened by themselves. My phone would record while I slept, capturing faint breathing, never mine. On the 4th day, I finally broke and called the landlord. He hesitated before answering my questions. And then he admitted something that made my stomach drop. "You're not the first to complain about voices," he said. "The previous tenant, she left after 6 nights. Told me something was whispering to her at 3 a.m. What happened to her?" He sighed. "She never came back for her belongings." That night, I decided to stay awake until morning. Around 2:58 a.m., the lights began to dim. Not flicker dim, like someone was slowly turning a dial on a lamp. A vibration rolled through the floor, steady and rhythmic. Not footsteps, more like something dragging itself just beneath the surface. At 3:11 a.m. on the dot, the dragging stopped. Silence. Then 3 knocks. Not on my door. Not on the walls. Under my bed. My breath hitched. I forced myself not to move. Another 3 knocks. Then a slow, cautious whisper. "Come down here." I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened like a fist was squeezing my lungs. A hand, cold, thin, bony, slid out from under my bed and reached for my ankle. I screamed and kicked backward, bolting to the hallway. I grabbed my coat, keys, and sprinted down the stairs barefoot. I didn't stop running until I reached the street. I stayed in a hotel for 3 nights before returning with movers to clear my stuff. I refused to step into the bedroom. One of the movers laughed, crouched to look under the bed, and immediately recoiled, face pale. "There's something carved under here." I didn't look. I didn't want to. We left immediately. 2 weeks later, the police called me about the apartment. Not because of me, but because the new tenant had filed a report. According to her, something whispered to her at exactly 3:11 a.m., and when she checked under the bed, fresh words were carved into the wood. Deep, uneven letters, like someone wrote them with shaking hands. He wasn't supposed to leave. I still don't know what was in that apartment. I don't know what it wanted, and I don't know why it chose 3:11 a.m., but sometimes, even in my new place, I wake up at 3:11 a.m. for no reason. And sometimes, just before I open my eyes, I swear I can hear breathing beside me. Like something followed me.